All right, so hey, welcome back, and we're going to do a little bit more Flask. We're going to talk about the next level of things, which is how we can send more information from the client to the server. So I basically have a little setup here. I just started a new Flask project. I added session here like before. We'll see if we use it. I added the debug true down here, and I made this little form demo template here, and I'm just going to put in here for now H1 form demo. And what we'll do here is I'm going to get rid of this sidebar here, since these are the only two files we're going to work with, and I want to be able to have a decent sized font and stuff. And we're going to make another route, form demo. And we're going to say def form underscore demo, nothing big deal. And we'll turn render template form dash demo HTML. So just bare bones, nothing really fancy. And what we're going to do is we're going to run this. And I've got to import, do I have to import render template? I think I do, yes. I have to import render template. And so now if I reload this, let's add to this. Can I add to this? I should be able to add to this. No, can't do that. Not a big deal. We're not going to be using this anyway. We're going to go here, we'll paste it, and we'll go to form dash demo. And so we are now in the form demo, no big deal, everything is good. And incidentally, when you're working, you can also put debugging information by putting in like prints, and then notice here, when I reload the page, notice it printed the hello. And if you don't use tabs, but you use separate windows, like if we, let's make an incognito window, because we might want to do this later anyway. And if we cut this, then we go to here, and let's expose that. And if we paste this, and we notice that this went and it printed its hello. So this is just stuff we had before. And before we get to dealing with the transfer information, and usually we'll use forms for this, and even though we're not using forms, even if you're doing this with JavaScript, it will use the same technology as if we're using forms. What I want to talk about is when we make requests to the server, we're not actually making a generic request. We're making a special type of request called a GET request. If you look over here, it says GET form demo HTTP 1/1, and because there are different types of requests. And I want to show you a couple of tools we can use to help with requests. So one type of tool we can use, we use this. We don't really use this for real to do it, but I showed you in class. We could use just the telnet. So we could use telnet. And let me just see what we opened up here. Well, actually, I'm not going to do this part from the telnet. I'll just show what I showed in class to give the idea. Info.huntercs.org, and we went to port 80, the web port, and it's Hunter CS without the dot. And we said that we could use a GET using HTTP 1.1 with a host of info.huntercs.org, and my user agent is telnet. Hit 2 enters, and you see it gave us back the HTML for the website. And that simulated the GET request, which is a particular type of request. There's also a tool which I'm going to open here under, this is under the Brave browser, but it's the same thing under like Chrome has the same thing, and Firefox has the same thing. It's called RESTman, and I'm going to do a GET of info.huntercs.org, and I'm going to send the GET request, and it should, I'm not sure why it's doing a GET request. Let's add user agent and a value of Brave. Let's see if that does it. That wasn't it. We don't want any form data. We don't want any body. That should actually work. Not sure why that does not work. Let's actually try something else. Let's try using RESTman to get from here. There we go. And notice that it brings back our page. This is where we wanted to go anyway. I don't know what I messed up with the other one. But this simulates a GET call going to this particular URL, and this is what it returns to us, that form demo. There's also something that I have in Emacs, which is my editor, called REST Client, where I can set up a call, and notice again it does the exact same thing. So it's simulating this call of doing, it's basically doing a GET request for the server. Now in Python, in Flask, we can use different types of requests, and we can specify which types of requests we want to use by going here to the decorator and saying which types of requests we want. And right now, the only request we have is GET. The only one we know about is GET. So if we do this, and let's rerun this because I had an error in the code at some point when it was reloading. And if we reload this, nothing happens differently. If we rerun this request, let's see if we can. We still get form demo down here. Everything is the same. There is no difference. But when we're dealing with sending data, we want to use a different request. The request we want to use is something known as post. And technically they're just sending data and retrieving data, but people who make web servers know that if you're sending a GET, it means you might send a little bit of information to the server, but you really want to get information. But if you're doing a post, you're saying, I want to send information to the server. So let me show you how that works. What we're going to say here is this request is going to accept both a GET and a post. And what we'll do here is we're just going to comment this out. And the way we do this is we have to include something else. We have to do something called the request. And the request has all sorts of information in it. And we're just going to print in here the request. At least just print it for now, just for seeing it. And we'll see it over here when we see it. And we're just going to then return hello. Nothing big. Now we'll run this. It's running. And we're going to come here and reload the page. And notice what it said. The request here, and it is a GET request. And there's probably more in the actual request. Let's actually see if there is. This may not work. We'll see in a second. But notice we're getting, okay, so now request doesn't have keys in this sense, so that's no good. So I'd have to look up more, but that's okay for us for now. As I said, it may not work. But anyway, we will rerun it, reload the page, and it prints the request, which is just this. On the other hand, if we go to RESTman, or we'll go to RESTman here, and we'll click on this, and now notice this changes to hello. And this is GET. But on the other hand, if we say we want to send a post request and send it, notice here we got a post. So the server can tell if it's a request for a get or for a post or for something else. And as we can see, and we can do this from Emacs as well, we'll just do it like this. And we see here, I'm doing info at huntercs.org. We're going to do so if we do this, notice that it returned the get, and this is stuff that request has in it, even though it didn't print it out for us. So notice it says the server, it's Python, this is one of the libraries, blah, 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 blah. And if we go to here, we'll notice we have that get. Let me do that again from the Emacs window. And you see here, it just added the get on the bottom. But if we do the post, is it not doing it? Let's quit that. Why didn't it do the post? I may not have the format right for this. Let me literally get rid of these. And now we did the post. All right. Oh, right. I remember now. I remember when I do this with an Emacs, I don't just have to split the line, but I need that. I need a comment there. So now I can do a get, or I can do a post, and notice that this is all the stuff that it sent back. So these are two different things that I can do to send information, and now I can use this in order to start building a form. So what I'll usually do is I'll make my route, and the way I can check whether it's a get or a post is I can do the following. I can say if request.method equals get, then it's a get, and I will return hello, you did a get. Otherwise, you did a post. So let's save that. That's I hit my actually, let me just undo that. I hit Emacs save key instead. So, but now we're running. If we just go here normally, we did a get, because going to a regular website just does a get. But if we're in RESTman and we send a post, it says you did a post. If we send a get, it said you did a get. And if we're up here using this client, it says here, and if we look at the top here, you did a get. But if we go to this one, you did a post. So basically, we can now tell if you're trying to go to the website from the first time or if you're sending more information. So now we can come back to the form demo. And what we can do here is we can say, we can make a little form. And the way we use a form in HTML, and we made forms in earlier classes, but we really didn't talk about them in terms of sending the information. Normally when you submit a form, it sends it back to the server, but we're going to say when it sends it back, send it back using post. And what we'll do here is we'll say, let's make an input, and we'll say this will be the name equals to do with all caps. And let's put a BR, and actually I forget how to do checkboxes. Well, I don't think it matters too much. So we'll just do and we'll say here, we'll say add to list. And what we'll do there is we'll just do that. So let's now go to here. Let's actually we'll reload it. It's not going to do anything different. But what we want to do is, if we get the get method, let's render template form demo.html. And we get this form. Let me just make this bigger. And let's modify the form a little bit. Let's go back to here and let us then also have a button called submit. And there we have it. All right, so that's basically, that's our form. Now let's see what happens here when we click the submit button. So if we go back here and we look at our form, it says that this form, which goes from here to here, and we can even say here, after the form, here to here, it says when you click the submit button, do a post. So if we go here, let's reload it because that way it'll have everything, and we click submit, it then submits it, and it knows that we're doing a post. All right, and so that's how we can tell, and we can now react to its data once we know how to get the data. And if we go over to here, notice we're still printing out post, etc. No big deal. All right, so we're getting there. So let's go a little further, and the same thing will happen over here. You know, with the get or the post, but whatever, not that important. So let's go here now. If we reload this page, it'll say here, confirm your resubmission, and it's still resubmitting the form. So what I'm going to do is hold the shift key, and that should have done it. Okay, so it's not going to do it. Let me see if I go here and redo that. Okay, so I had to re-go to the bar up there and hit enter, and then it reset it to a get. So now we know the difference between a get and a post. So now let's see how we can deal with the get and the post. And the way we deal with that is, if it's a post, we're going to print over here. We're going to print out the requests form. Well, let's just see what that does. And I'm going to get rid of this printout over here. So basically, request has request.method, which tells if it's a get or a post or anything else. But it also has a form in it if you're sending it a form. And so what we're going to do is we're going to reload this, which we did, and we're going to say hello. What did I hit there? I don't know what I hit. Hello, and we're going to click on submit, and then if we come here, notice it says we get a dictionary called form, which has a key of to do, and it has hello in it. Okay, so we're sending this, we're getting this data back in this dictionary. And I don't remember exactly how to do check boxes in or radio buttons or drop down lists in HTML, but it's going to all come back in this dictionary under whatever your name keys are. And so, and we can even do, let's go a little bit further. Let's make our button, let's give our button name equals submit, value equals do it, just for the hell of it. And I actually don't even know all the stuff it's going to do here. And let's go back to here, click on that, reload it, and let's say we want to add just a bunch of stuff. And now notice here, we have to do with SSS, but we have submit, our submit button, lowercase submit, with do it in it, which means that we could set up different buttons with different values, and we're going to see which one was clicked. So for every item in your form, you're going to get stuff. If you have a password field, whatever, you're going to get it. So let's put this all into a little application, a little to-do list. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to our main, or well, we'll do this in here. Why don't we say here, to-do list, and we'll make an ordered list, and we'll use Flask. We'll use the session to say the list will go here. So why don't we just say, we'll put something in here called to-dos. And we don't have that yet, but we'll put that in. So if we go back to here, notice it says up there to-do list, and now we did a post, okay. But now we've got to start putting together this to-do applications. What we'll do here is, if we did a post, what we're going to do is we're going to say, because we know we only have one button, why don't we say item equals request.form and I don't know if I called it, I forget, my memory is bad. We see the input name is to do, so that's okay. And we'll call that item. And that's all good so far. And so now we have our item. And what we're going to say is, why don't we add that to why don't we store this all in our session? So if session, if to-do list is not in session, we can say session sub to-do list equals an empty list. So now we'll make this to-do list in our session. And then what we'll do is we'll say session to-do list dot append the item. So every time we do this, we will add our item to the list in our session. And then what we're going to do is we are going to return our form demo, but we're going to send for our to-dos, and I think we just did that again. We'll come back here and look, and we see it's to-dos all in lowercase. We'll say our to-dos are going to be from our session to-do list. Just add an enter there. So now let's reload this. Are we running? We are running. We'll come in here and let's add first, let's add wake up. And we have a runtime error. Oh no. So it says here session to-do list equals bracket. And the error, session is unavailable because no secret key was set. So I forgot that I have to set app.secret key equals, just some random stuff. We're restarting. We'll reload the page. And now notice our to-do list has wake up, get out of bed, drag a comb across my head. And notice I'm hitting enter, and that's doing the submit. But every time we do this, we are submitting a post. And when we do the post, it's coming in here and it's saying, okay, we have it in our session, so we're just going to add the item. And then it's going to re-render the form, but with the to-do list. And now let's make that look a little bit nicer. Why don't we say here, for item in to-dos, and now let's reload the page here. And I've got a mistake. Maybe it's end4 without the... I always forget this, so that could be my mistake. There we go. Wake up, and I forgot to get out of bed. Oh, no, that's not quite working. Drag a comb. Oh, no. So we do have a little bit of a problem here. And the problem, let's see, for item in to-dos, that should loop over all the items. Let's go here and let's print out all the to-dos. So this is our debugging, and this is, this is live stuff. Reload it. And notice that we're not actually appending to our to-do list. So let's see why. So we are getting if to-do list not in session, then it equals an empty list. Oh, okay, that's from the form. That's the to-do. That's the item. Why don't we do this as a separate? Why don't we say L equals session to-do list, and then we'll say L dot append item, and then we'll say L dot then we'll say the session underscore to-do underscore list equals that list. So let's see, just in case it's having something to do with the session, with the way, with append and the list and the way that list works. So let's restart this. And I got a session, may still have a syntax error in here. Let's see. Doing a shift reload. Yeah, so it looks like it has to do with the way, when we do the dot append, it might be that it's making a new list internally and just the way Python deals with memory, but this looks to have fixed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and do a shift reload again, and that looks a little bit ugly because we don't have a to-do list yet until we have our first item. So we can even make this a little bit nicer if we wanted to. Well, should we do it? I guess we could. We could use an if. We could do something like if not to-dos, and if, let's see if this works. And again, I don't really 100% know if this will work. And I'm going to actually open this in an incognito window. Okay, so that's not what we needed to do to get rid of this. So there's something else. Maybe if we do if length to-dos is less than 1, let's try again. I'm just trying stuff here. Okay, so we have an error here. Length is not defined. I thought length. Okay, I'm not going to fight with this right now. But we'd have to figure out what to do. That would make it look a little bit nicer. But we're going to do one other thing to make this a little bit better, which is we're going to make another button. We'll make the value clear. And so now we'll have two buttons. One with, they'll both be named submit, but one will be with a value of do it and the other will be a value of clear. So what we're going to do here is under the post, what we're going to do here is let's print request.form. Well, let's just print the request.form. Let's load the page and let's click submit. And we will look here, submit with the value of do it. Let's now this time click on the clear button and notice here submit was clear. So what we're going to do here is we are going to say, and we could do this in a number of ways. We could leave this stuff up top even. We could say if request.form and I'm going to scroll up here to see what I used. Submit lowercase. So it was submit equals do it. Then we're going to do all of this. And we're going to render the template no matter what. But on the other hand, if the form's value wasn't do it, then the form must have been clear. So we're just going to say session to-do list equals an empty list. And yeah, and that should do it. So let's see if this all works. Let's reload everything. And we're okay here. Actually, that looks ugly. I have something ugly in the HTML. Let's fix it. And of course, this will look much better with CSS. But if we add to our to-do list, but then if we clear, it can sense that button. So that's how we send data back and forth, by using post to send the data, and then the server can say, hey, it was a post. What was in that, quote, form data, and how do I deal with it? Now, even if you're working with JavaScript, even if you're working with an application that's pure JavaScript going to a server, it's the same idea. You're still sending a post with form data. It's just encoded slightly differently, but it's the exact same idea. And we could do it with RESTman and stuff if we wanted to. So what you're going to do for the assignment for Flask is you're going to make something that basically has this communication with a form. I'm going to put this in the actual assignment rather than in the video, but like having something like a simple login or something like that would be probably a good application. But again, that'll all be in the printed assignment. This code will be up on the website, so you can work off of this code as well under materials, and that's about it. Okay, so yeah, all right, so enjoy.